Welcome to Football with Cheese. Happy Sunday, everyone. I am doing a preview of both Monday Night Football games. I just released the Lions-Buccaneers. I'll put it in one of the boxes here at the end. So make sure you check that out after watching this video, of course. I'm also going to put a video, if you have not watched, about the NFL memo that was sent out about defensive players. Got to be careful when they try to peanut punch the ball out and punch the ball and not the player. It's become a huge problem. The Lions do it. The most famous was the Rams 49ers game. The video will be in one of these boxes at the end. So Seahawks Texans, very important game. We got the split Monday night games. I know a lot of Texans fans aren't happy it's starting at 9 local time because a lot of people have to go to bed, get up at work Tuesday morning. But I like the two Monday night games, and I like the split. I don't like when they're on at the same time, like last week. But some people don't like it. But this is the late game. Let's start with the Seahawks. For some reason, they went from maybe the best home field advantage in the NFL, like a decade ago, to one of the worst. They're a much better road team than home team since the beginning of last year. I have no idea why. But they got to get that figured out because this is a home game. Devin Witherspoon, the corner, Julian Love, the safety, both questionable. They have not played in, feels like a long time. They survived last week at Jacksonville without them. But you're going against Nico Collins, so you want to have Witherspoon in the game. Wish I knew if those two guys were playing. It would probably change my prediction. But the key for the Seahawks will be Sam Darnold and the offensive line. The offensive line has been a huge issue for the Seahawks for many years. They used their first-round pick on Gray Zabel. You have Charles Cross at left tackle, Gray Zabel at left guard. So the left side is solid. So it's better, but it's still not a great offensive line. And Sam Darnold, let's just talk about him and his career. I remember when he came out of the draft, he was in the same draft class as Josh Allen and Baker Mayfield. I watched him at USC, and I was not high on him for this reason. When he had time in the pocket, a clean pocket, and he was able to set his feet, he was tremendous. Whenever he got pressure, the play broke down, it led to a lot of completions, interceptions. And those kind of quarterbacks usually do not make it in the NFL. Brady Quinn's another example. Notre Dame saw the same thing. Great with a clean pocket, and whenever there's pressure, mechanics break down and they struggle. So that was a huge issue his whole career up until last year with the Vikings. His whole Jets career was pretty much a disaster. He bounced around the league. He ended up with the 49ers and Panthers. But something clicked with the Vikings last year, and all of a sudden, he handled pressure better than ever, except the final two games of the year when the Vikings started having offensive line injuries because they have no depth. We saw that this year in their losses, how bad their offensive line has been. And he had pressure in his face against the Lions and Rams in those last two games, and he was awful. And that's the main reason, in my opinion, that the Vikings decided to let him walk in free agency, not because they had J.J. McCarthy. It's because they were worried that he reverted to the Jets' Sam Darnold. So the Seahawks trade Geno Smith, and they signed Sam Darnold, and he looks good again. Even under pressure, he's looked pretty good. But the Texans have two really good pass rushers, Will Anderson Jr. and Daniel Hunter, probably two of the best 15 pass rushers, maybe two of the best 10 in the NFL. They're that good. They're not talked about enough, especially Hunter. He's been good for many years. Used to be on the Vikings. But that could be an issue for Darnold in this game. And on the other side, let's talk about the Texans. They have the worst offensive line in the NFL. Definitely the worst pass-blocking offensive line in the league. It's been an issue for years for the Texans. And instead of upgrading it, they actually downgraded by trading Laramie Tunsil. They did upgrade the skill positions, drafted a couple receivers on day 2, Woody Marks running back on day 3. But I've said this before, I'll say it again. Their big focus in the offseason has to be offensive line. We say that about half the league, though, because offensive line play has just gone downhill. Luckily, very good offensive tackle draft, but that is a story for another day. So that's the key matchup. The Seahawks have had a really good pass rush this year. They had 7 sacks, I believe, last week against the Jaguars. Main reason they held them at 12 points. So this could be a bad matchup in a way for both teams. But if the Seahawks can get those two edge rushers blocked, they will be fine. And the Texans could be in a little bit of trouble. I think the Seahawks are top 5 in the NFL, maybe top 3 in pass rush win rate, just rushing 4. And you really only need to rush 4 against the Texans because the O-line is that bad. Looking at the schedules, the Seahawks, they're at Washington next week. So if they lose this game, they could easily be 4-4. That 4-2 can turn into 4-4. And they need to win this game because they're in a 3-way tie for first place. Is that Trevor Lawrence, Travis Hunter commercial where they dance? Is that not the gayest thing you have ever seen in your life? Honestly, it is. It's the gayest thing I've ever seen. Anyway, they keep showing it. But yeah, the Seahawks are at Washington next week. So if they lose this game, that's a tough road game. They could be looking at 4-4. But the 49ers are getting healthy. And the Rams look really good against the Jaguars. So got to keep winning to stay in first place. And the Texans, next 3 games are at home. If they can pull an upset in Seattle, they have 3 straight home games and then play at the Titans. So if they win this game, they could possibly 7-3, maybe 6-4. Probably not going to win the division because the Colts look amazing, but still trying to get a wild card. So this is a really important game for both teams. Okay, prediction time. Yeah, this one's tough. Seahawks by 3. I thought it'd be a little bit more than that, maybe 4 or 5, but the Seahawks haven't played well at home. I'm going to take the Seahawks to win and cover just because the Texan offensive line is so bad. I think the Seahawks are going to get a lot of pressure on C.J. Stroud. Even though the Texans just came off a bye and Seattle hasn't had theirs yet, I still think they win by a touchdown. They cover, go to 5-2. Comment down below. What do you think? Do you think Seattle will cover the 3? You know what to do. Subscribe if you have not. Hit the bell for notification. Give me a thumbs up. Really helps out the channel. Share this with anyone who loves football as we continue to grow football with cheese. Every Tuesday night, me and Mike, Lights Out Podcast, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific, where we talk NFL, of course, college football, and Major League Baseball. Got the playoffs going on. So let me know in the comments down below, or you can message me on X. Make sure you follow me, link in the description, about the new format. I was doing 2 or 3 long videos a week, basically recapping and previewing every game. I'm not going to do that anymore just because we're getting to the point in the season where there's games like the Browns-Dolphins. There's no reason to even go over that. It's a draft pick game. So just focusing on 3 or 4 games to preview and recap. Also do deep dives on teams, like where are they going. For example, the Bengals, we're going to do a video on that early this week. And also trends like the MFL memo about the punch. Make sure you check that out in one of these boxes, and I will see you in the next video.